Good morning, everybody. Happy Cinco de Mayo. That's May 5th. Welcome to MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick with the Cusick Group. Here we're going to take a look at what's hot on the open here in the U.S. markets. It's been an interesting morning, to say the least. You can see right now that the current indices, taking a look here at Dow Jones, S&P 500, NASDAQ, Russell 2000, all basically trading slightly in the green or just dipping into the red, but the Dow Jones has bounced back off of its lowest levels, but still in a grinding motion. Now, we did have the employment data out. We did say that yesterday. I was discussing that that's going to be potentially a market mover. Well, it's not. Some people might be scratching their heads. 4.4% unemployment. Okay, very low. We're seeing non-farm payrolls increasing, but what was interesting, though, is that got mixed into this was that there was a revision down from last month's non-farm payrolls. As a matter of fact, the number of jobs created was actually ratcheted down. So that kind of mutes the positive nature of what was reported for this month. Not to total degree, but, again, the data is not continuing to just tilt to the upside. You also saw month over month that wages basically stayed flat. And so if we have rising employment but wages aren't increasing, is there really demand? Yes, people are working, but could there be just more people that have either given up or are underemployed? In other words, taking jobs that pay less than what they need to actually make to live. That is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on, because as you can see, the markets are not reacting that positively to this event, which is a pretty positive employment picture that's going on. Dow Jones trading down 11 points. Like I said, at 20,940, off of its lowest levels, but in a grind. The S&P 500 up two points at 2391, taking a look at the SPX. The NASDAQ is trading up one now at 5627. This is the NASDAQ 100. Trading on its lower levels of the session, but still in a grind. And the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 is up 79 cents at 1,389. Again, challenging in its 20-day moving average. So all of the major indices right now are still in bullish trends, but there seems to be nothing that can catalyze this market to the upside. Volatility is non-existent, but not completely shocked. For those of you that have not watched this before or are new to the MarketStream shows, volatility is that gauge that we utilize for future expectations of violent moves. And right now, with volatility at 10, that's very low, not a high expectation. In other words, very complacent market. Earnings have been pretty solid. The economic data has been pretty solid, but yet the markets continue to stay flat. The dollar has pulled off considerably from its bullish levels of 99. As we had noted, a break of that 200-day moving average, this black line right here, that basically constituted a breach of that bullish nature in the dollar. The dollar has pulled back. That's given a little bit of strength in global currencies. The crude contract had a crazy overnight session. As a matter of fact, the crude contract saw a trade get as low as 43.80 overnight in the futures markets. There seemed to be an air pocket that when the crude contract was trading around 45.30, it dropped down to about, or 45.50, it dropped down to about a 43.80 or a $1.50 pretty darn quickly. It seems to be that there was just a pocket of no liquidity. And what was notable about that, the Japanese markets were closed for the Children's Day holiday, so there was the lack of participation in the overnight crude markets, but crude has just been taking it on the chin for the last two sessions. We've seen it drop from $48 all the way down, touching $44, right? And hey, we talked about that. There is some support issues in here, and you saw that air pocket hit, now trading at 45.87, so it's bounced back from those lows overnight, but crude is challenged. And I'll be honest with you, I'm challenged to understand that if you're starting to see the moves like in crude, the dollar, how are we going to sit here and say that the markets really have all these huge catalysts? The bond markets were green initially, but have pulled back. You see that the bond prices on the short end of the curve are up a little bit right now. The 10-year right now is down a few ticks, and the 30-year is down a few ticks as well. Trading on their lows. And what's notable about the 30-year and the 10-year is that they're challenging their 50-day moving average. So those bond bulls are under pressure. They are on their heels. And as a matter of fact, on the long end of the curve, the 30-year, you can clearly see that they've broken right now the session. So let's watch that action very closely. If you actually look at the yield, you're going to want to see a challenge of that 3% level. And right now, the 10-year is trading over 3%. We haven't seen that in quite a few sessions. Let's see if it can hold. That could be a positive for financials and areas and segments of the market that are sensitive to interest rates. That could also explain why some of the more safety areas, utilities, telecom, they're actually right now looking a little bit stronger today as well. Finally, let's talk a little bit about IBM. It was headlines overnight that Berkshire Hathaway had basically dumped a portion of their IBM position. As you can see from the headline, billionaire peers Gates and Druckenmiller warned Buffett he'd be wrong on IBM. Well, they disclosed that they have unwound some of their position in IBM, and IBM is down $3.75 this morning. You see a couple gaps here with IBM dropping from 168 to 164, now from 160, 158 down to 155, for almost a $4 drop. This segment, again, gonna watch this one very closely. This is one of those bellwethers to how the Dow is holding up right now with this move in the blue chip IBM. We'll see. Maybe someone should go ask Watson. All right. Anyways, I think today is going to be one of those days where we're going to have to kind of pick through some of the data, assess it, look out in the landscape, and kind of take a look at what's forthcoming. We have the French elections over the weekend. That's going to be done by noon on Sunday, so join us for the Sunday night setups. But I think right now the most critical thing you can do is keep your powder dry. There really is no tip of the cap right now to either the bulls or the bears. The markets are still in a very neutral range at this juncture. As you can see from the chart, it has been that way for almost 2 weeks. This is a bit frustrating, but this is where you have to have a very calm, cool demeanor. And when you're deploying capital, I think going forward, you're going to be cutting your size down pretty dramatically until we start getting a better handle on what the next move is going to be. All right, folks, that's it right now for What's Hot on the Open. Join me at 1:30 Eastern Time. I'm going to be discussing some strategies that you can be deploying for your portfolios. So join us here at MarketStream.live. See you then.